Did you know that you don't always need a massive machine to conquer the most frozen places on Earth? Out there, where the temperature drops below zero, the wind cuts like a blade, and snow covers everything for weeks, there are small, almost discrete vehicles that can do something incredible. They move forward, and more than that, they survive. Today, we're taking you on a ride through the smallest off-road expedition trucks ever used in the Arctic. Vehicles you may have never even heard of, but each one carries a legacy of engineering, survival, and resilience in the harshest places on the planet. Some were designed for secret military missions, others to explore regions where a regular car wouldn't even dream of going. But they all have one thing in common: compact size and strength that defies logic. So, have you ever wondered how a truck smaller than a compact car can make it across a field of deep, soft snow? Get ready, because today you'll meet some of the coolest compact legends to ever ride on ice. Stick around to the end, because the last one on this list has such a bold piece of engineering, it feels like something out of a sci-fi movie. The Articulated Tracked Carrier, BV206 type. Imagine a snow train less than 23 feet long, 7 meters, only 6 foot 2 inches wide, 1.87 meters, and just over 6.5 feet tall, 2 meters, fully articulated with twin cabs and dual rubber tracks. And the craziest part? It's light enough to float over frozen lakes without breaking through. This is the Articulated Tracked Carrier, a Swedish legend developed in 1980 by a renowned Scandinavian vehicle maker. Built for military and logistics operations in extreme terrain, it was designed for the brutal northern European climate where soft snow and swampy ground demanded something lightweight, practical, and insanely tough. Under the hood, it packs a 2.8-liter V6 gasoline engine producing around 125 horsepower and about 170 pounds of torque. Modest numbers on paper, but combined with its low weight, just over 9,000 pounds, 4 tons, they make for a shockingly capable machine. It uses 4 rubber tracks for traction, with an articulating steering system that allows it to turn in ridiculously tight spaces. The tracks spread its weight so evenly that it glides over snow like a snowshoe. And here's the kicker: this vehicle is fully amphibious. It floats and moves through icy water without needing any special modifications. Inside, the front cabin seats 2, and the rear module can carry up to 10 troops, gear, or supplies. It's insulated, heated, and stays fully operational even in 30 degrees C, that's 22 degrees Fahrenheit. From a distance, it looks like a toy, but the deep rumble of the engine and the constant hum of the tracks smashing snow quickly remind you this thing is all business. In the real world, it's been used by armies, rescue teams, and scientists working in places like Antarctica and the Arctic Circle. Its small size allowed it to navigate tight forest trails and narrow mountain passes where bigger machines just couldn't turn. And here's a wild fact: in 2004, one of these carriers was used to set up a mobile emergency hospital during a blizzard, carrying 15 people and first aid equipment across more than 37 miles, 60 kilometers, of unstable frozen terrain. No other vehicle could make the trip. Impressed? Just wait, the next one's even smaller. The all-terrain Tundra Buggy. It started as a backyard project and became a go-to for Russian survivalists. This one is so tiny it fits in a standard garage and can be towed by a light-duty pickup. Measuring just 11.5 feet long, 3.5 meters, 5.4 feet wide, 1.65 meters, and weighing under 1,800 pounds, 800 kilograms, the Tundra Buggy is like a souped-up hand truck, but built for snow, mud, forests, and anything else the wild throws at it. Hand-built by independent engineers in Russia during the early 2000s, this small vehicle had one simple mission: get forest rangers, hunters, and off-grid explorers into places where even motorcycles struggled to reach. It's powered by a small 2-cylinder diesel engine pushing 22 horsepower and around 37 pound-feet of torque. On paper, that might sound weak, but this thing was built to be feather-light. Combine that with 4-wheel drive, low-pressure tires, and simple suspension, and you've got a climber that eats up snow trails like nothing. Inside, the cabin fits 2 people, and the rear bed is fully adaptable for cargo, extra fuel tanks, or even as a thermal tent platform. The dashboard is bare bones, just the essentials for field operations. What makes this little beast truly special is its ability to sneak into tight trails. It can squeeze through paths under 6 feet, 5 feet wide, 2 meters, enter dense woods, and ride across thin ice where heavier vehicles would crash straight through. In fact, back in 2010, a Russian hunter customized his all-terrain buggy with a kerosene heater, extra gas tank, and a pop-up camping setup, turning it into a mini survival hotel, and it was all under 13 feet long. Today, it's a cult favorite among Russian survivalists and off-road enthusiasts, frequently featured in forums and YouTube channels. Thought that was as small as it gets? Buckle up! The Swamp Tractor Muskeg type. The word muskeg comes from the frozen, swampy terrain found in parts of Canada, and the Swamp Tractor was built to dominate that kind of landscape quietly. More than just an off-road tractor, this thing was a compact snow tank ready to take on the Arctic. Built in 1953 by a famous Canadian manufacturer, the Swamp Tractor was designed for mining, ice exploration, and moving people or gear where the weather and the terrain simply didn't forgive mistakes. And even with all that purpose, it's smaller than many modern SUVs, about 14.7 feet long, 4.5 meters, 6.5 feet wide, 2 meters, and just over 6.5 feet tall, 2 meters. Its engine, a straight 6 gasoline engine producing 130 horsepower and an estimated 236 pound-feet of torque, paired with a manual gearbox and multiple low-range gears, perfect for slow, heavy-duty hauling through tough terrain. The Swamp Tractor uses dual-wide rubber and steel tracks that distribute weight evenly, letting it glide across deep snow and muddy ice. There's no traditional suspension. The flex and movement of the tracks absorb bumps naturally. Inside, it's no frills, 2 front seats, and a rear section that could be a cargo bed, shelter, or even a mobile workshop. Its compact body made it ideal for tight mining paths, narrow forest trails, or icy roads where larger industrial machines couldn't turn around. And here's a little-known fact. In the 1960s, some remote Canadian towns used this machine as a winter school bus. Regular buses couldn't handle the snow load, so this became a daily hero for kids heading to school. The engine hum, the clanking of its tracks, and the subtle vibration in the cabin made each ride feel like an Arctic roller coaster. Getting nostalgic? Just wait till the next one. The Vintage Snow Patrol BR100 type. If the Swamp Tractor was a tough little snow tractor, the Vintage Snow Patrol vehicle was its smoother, more stylish cousin, but still built with that classic Canadian grit. Launched in the 1960s by the same manufacturer, the BR100 was designed for patrol, rescue, and utility jobs in remote frozen areas, and its size made it perfect for tight trails. Just over 12.8 feet long, 3.9 meters, 6.2 feet wide, 1.9 meters, and about 7.2 feet tall, 2.2 meters, small enough to fit in a barn and still hit icy mountain paths with ease. Most versions came with a Chrysler gasoline engine, 251 cubic inch, or about 4.1 liters, delivering around 125 horsepower and 217 pound-feet of torque. It was powerful enough to cruise through deep snow without getting bogged down. The rear was equipped with wide, flexible tracks, while the front used either skis or modified wheels depending on the job, which gave the BR100 great stability and steering even on uneven or icy terrain. Inside, you'd find simple bench seating for 2 to 3 people, basic insulation, and that classic 1960s analog dashboard. Charming in the best possible way, this machine was widely used by postal workers, electric companies, and border patrols across Canada. Its compact size made it easy to transport on trailers or even by helicopter, making it a go-to for remote service calls and winter maintenance. Oh, and get this, some units were converted into ski resort snow taxis in the 70s. They shuttled tourists from parking lots to mountain cabins through narrow trails that regular trucks couldn't handle. Between its friendly design and the hum of its tracks, the BR100 became an icon in those regions. Pretty cool, right? The Polar Electric Rover. Well, the next one might look like a science lab on tracks, but it's fully electric, ultra quiet and built for the most extreme environments on Earth. Now this one's unlike anything you've ever seen. The Polar Electric Rover is the first fully electric vehicle designed specifically for scientific missions in Antarctica. And the wild part? It's the size of a double-cab pickup. Compact, lightweight, and silent. This is what polar exploration looks like in the future. Designed by an engineering group from Monaco, it was commissioned in 2021 by the Belgian Polar Institute. It measures just 11.8 feet long, 3.6 meters, 6.5 feet wide, 2 meters, and 7.5 feet tall, 2.3 meters. Compact enough to navigate inside polar bases and maneuver across fragile ice without cracking it. Powered by 2 independent electric motors, it delivers a total of 80 horsepower and about 217 pounds per foot of instant torque, which is typical for EVs. That immediate torque makes a huge difference in the snow, where you need consistent, smooth traction at low speed. It rides on wide rubber tracks with an intelligent suspension system for grip and stability. And here's the coolest part, it's completely silent. That's huge in Antarctica, where silence is key to wildlife preservation. No engine roar to scare off penguins, seals, or birds. Inside, the Rover feels like a spaceship. Heated digital dashboard, up to 30 miles, 50 kilometers of range, and room for 3 people, plus research equipment, all in a modular, easily transportable frame. It's currently used for environmental monitoring, ice sample collection, sensor deployment, and support missions, with a strong focus on sustainability and low environmental impact. And here's a fun fact. Because it's so compact and light, the electric Rover can be shipped inside a standard shipping container and lifted straight onto the ice with a basic crane. Bigger vehicles? Not a chance. The Compact Trail Snowcat IMP1404 type. If that's the future, the next one is a full-blown cult classic. Loud, small, and more agile than most 4x4 trucks on the road today. Now, we're heading back to the 1970s for one of the most beloved compact machines in the snow world, the Compact Trail Snowcat. It looks like a mini bulldozer with a snow buggy body, and get this, it could pull almost twice its own weight. Built in the United States by a company famous for aerospace engineering, this Snowcat was released in 1973 as a lighter, more practical alternative to oversized Snowcats. And size-wise, it's tiny, just 12.5 feet long, 3.8 meters, 5.9 feet wide, 1.8 meters, and under 6.2 feet tall, 1.9 meters. That's smaller than a modern SUV. Under the hood, it came with a Ford industrial 4-cylinder engine, displacing 160 cubic in, about 2.6 liters, producing 90 horsepower and around 177 pound-feet of torque. Power went straight to the rear tracks through a low-range mechanical transmission, giving it strong, slow pulling power. Weighing in at just 2,650 pounds, 1,200 kilograms, it was light enough to be towed on a basic trailer, and it could carry up to 2,000 pounds, 900 kilograms, of gear in the rear bed. The cabin was tight, built for 2, with a bare-bones dashboard and room for tools and survival kits. It didn't use a traditional suspension. The tension in the tracks, combined with its light weight, made it surprisingly smooth over deep powder. And best of all, it required very little maintenance, making it perfect for remote Arctic bases. It was widely used by forest rangers, fire crews, emergency responders, and even hunters in snowy regions. And here's a wild fact. In 2006, a film crew used one of these Snowcats to climb a frozen mountain in Alaska to shoot aerial scenes because helicopters couldn't fly in the high winds, and this was the only vehicle that could make the climb. Visually, it looks like a scaled-up RC car, but the engine growl and the rumble of the tracks cutting through snow make it feel way bigger than it is. The vintage snow vehicle. And speaking of small, the next one is even more compact, looks like a cartoon tank, and was a snow patrol hero for decades. The name says it all. This little beast is like a snowmobile and a tank had a baby. Best part, it's about the size of a VW Beetle and weighs only 3,970 pounds, 1,800 kilograms. Built in Sweden by a machine company starting in 1957, the vintage snow vehicle was all about practicality in extreme winter conditions. It was small enough to store in a basic shed and could be transported by train or even a small trailer. Its dimensions, just 12.5 feet long, 3.8 meters, 5.9 feet wide, 1.8 meters, and about 6.5 feet tall, 2 meters. Power came from a 1.2-liter Volkswagen Flat 4, the exact same engine used in the original Beetle, producing 36 horsepower and about 52 pound-feet of torque. Doesn't sound like much, but this machine is light, and the track system gives it serious snow climbing ability. The narrow tracks were well aligned and long enough to provide a smooth, stable ride, even over bumpy terrain. The suspension was super simple, just springs and basic tensioning, but it worked great. Inside, the snow vehicle could seat up to 5 people, or 3 with full expedition gear. It was fully enclosed, heated, and had large windows for visibility, which made it feel more like a small bus than a Snowcat. It was widely used by remote communities, rescue services, and border patrol units in places like Norway, Iceland, Canada, and even Scotland. Some versions were modified for medical transport and rural snow school buses. And get this, in the 1960s, the BBC used a snow vehicle during film shoots in Antarctica because it was the only small vehicle that could handle narrow trails and icy climbs without shaking the camera equipment. From the outside, it looks like a mini school bus on tank treads, round headlights, square body, and that classic retro charm. Many restored units are still working today. The World's 2 utility tracked vehicle, M29 type. Pretty charming, right? Well, next up is a battle-tested machine that's just as small, but once roamed the front lines in World War II. Ever heard of a military vehicle that's under 13 feet long, floats on water, crawls over snow, and carries troops into battle? That's the WWII Utility Tracked Vehicle, a World War II legend and one of the toughest compact off-road machines ever built for cold environments. Built by Studebaker in the United States, this vehicle was developed in 1943 at the request of the U.S. military. Designed to be light, air transportable, and unstoppable on snow, it measured 12.1 feet long, 3.7 meters, 5.7 feet wide, 1.75 meters, and 5.7 feet tall, 1.75 meters. That's about the size of a compact hatchback, and it weighed just over 3,300 pounds, 1,500 kilograms. It could be airdropped or towed behind other military vehicles. It ran on a 170 cubic inch, 2.8-liter, inline 6, putting out around 70 horsepower and 118 pound-feet of torque. It wasn't fast, but it didn't need to be. It was amphibious, fully track-driven, and made to go where nothing else could. The rubber tracks were narrow and independently braked, which gave it tight steering and great control, even in deep powder. Suspension was basic, using small wheels and rollers like a mini-tank. Early versions had open cabs, later models were enclosed. It carried 2 up front and up to 4 or 5 soldiers in the back, depending on the setup. It was used for ammo transport, medical evac, patrol, and recon missions. And here's a battlefield fact. Some of these tracked vehicles were used in the Battle of the Bulge, crawling through deep snow that even tanks couldn't handle. Its lightweight build and compact size were game changers. Today, restored units live in museums and private collections, and some are still taken out on snow runs for fun. The Rocket Snow Machine, KT3 type. The Rocket Snow Machine, KT3 type. Tough enough for war, light enough for ice, and now get ready. Number 2 is one of the weirdest snow machines ever built, shaped like a rocket on skis. Not many people have heard of the Rocket Snow Machine, but once you've seen it, you'll never forget it. With its rocket-like shape, aluminum body, and the size of a compact car, this American-built Snowcat is easily one of the strangest and smallest snow machines ever made. Built in Colorado Springs and released in 1957, the Rocket Snow Machine was designed to be lightweight, versatile, and easy to transport. And it absolutely nailed that brief. Just 11.5 feet long, 3.5 meters, 5.7 feet wide, 1.75 meters, and only 5.6 feet tall, 1.7 meters. Basically, a snowmobile with a shell and a mission. It was powered by a Volkswagen Flat 4 engine, the same one used in the Beetle, delivering 36 horsepower and about 52 pound-feet of torque. Power was sent to the rear tracks, while the front used adjustable skis for steering. But what really set this snow machine apart was its incredible lightness. At just 1,540 pounds, 700 kilograms, it could be towed by a regular car or even airlifted by helicopter. And the aluminum body wasn't just lightweight, it also insulated against cold and reduced drag. Inside, it had room for two, came with a heater, and even had a small luggage area in the back. It was used by rangers, farmers, and explorers in snowy, remote regions where bigger vehicles were totally impractical. The sound? Quiet and smooth. Just that familiar VW air-cooled purr. The ride? Surprisingly stable, thanks to simple track suspension and a low center of gravity. And here's a gem. Some Arctic research bases in Alaska use these rocket snow machines to move tools and food between buildings indoors and outdoors. It was literally faster than walking through the snow. Today, it's a highly collectible vehicle, and restored models have sold for over $100,000 at auctions. The Amphibious Utility Vehicle, Sherp Type. And now it's time for number 1, a beast like no other. Small on the outside, monstrous on the inside, and built to float over or plow through anything. If all the vehicles on this list are impressive, the Amphibious Utility Vehicle is on a whole different level. It looks like a giant inflatable toy, but it's actually one of the toughest, most advanced, and most versatile off-road machines ever built for extreme cold, and it's about the size of a small hatchback. Launched around 2020 by a Ukrainian company, the Amphibious Utility Vehicle took the world by storm with its wild design and insane capabilities. Just 11.1 feet long, 3.4 meters, 6.5 feet wide, 2 meters, and 7.5 feet tall, 2.3 meters, the utility vehicle is small enough to fit inside a standard shipping container, and it can be transported by plane, truck, or even helicopter. It runs on a 1.5-liter four-cylinder diesel engine generating 44 horsepower and 140 pounds of torque. Doesn't sound like much until you realize every wheel is independently driven, and the torque is delivered directly to those monster tires. And here's the crazy part, it doesn't have tracks. Instead, it uses 4 massive low-pressure tires which act as traction, suspension, and flotation all in one. Those tires are basically giant air cushions, letting the utility vehicle float over deep snow, thick mud, cracked ice, or even water. Yep, it's fully amphibious, moving like a boat thanks to the spinning motion of its paddle-like tires. Inside, it's simple but smart. Room for up to 4 people, rugged dash, sealed compartments for survival gear and tools. It can run 50-plus hours in rough terrain and cover over 60 miles, 100 kilometers, in extreme cold without needing to refuel. Visually, it's a stunner. Squared-off windows, stubby body, towering tires. It looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. The sound, low and rumbling, almost like a slow-moving industrial drone chewing through snow. The utility vehicle is used today by rescue crews, filmmakers, extreme explorers, and, yes, even billionaires. One of them in Iceland reportedly bought one just to carry guests up a snowy mountain to his private ski lodge during storms, because not even a helicopter could make the trip. Tiny on the outside, unstoppable on the inside, the Amphibious Utility Vehicle is without question the king of compact Arctic trucks. So, could you picture these tiny machines tackling deep snow, brutal cold, frozen trails, and complete isolation? Today, we saw that when it comes to surviving in the Arctic, size doesn't matter. From the rocket-shaped snow machine to the amphibious utility vehicle and everything in between, these machines prove that brilliant engineering can come in compact packages. They're more than just vehicles. They're symbols of resilience, creativity, and human determination. They represent an era where people had to go beyond the limits and built machines that could follow them anywhere. Now, tell me in the comments which one blew your mind with its size versus power. And if you could have one of these in your garage, which one would it be? And, of course, if you love machines that conquer snow, ice, and extreme environments, hit that subscribe button. Tap the notification bell and join us every week for new videos exploring the most incredible vehicles on Earth. See you in the next one.